We got to do the warning. Hold on. You have to do... this is, you got to do warnings today. Hold on.
Warning. Arch's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Okay, now that that's out of the way. Where do you see this? Okay. Can I get the angle right? I know it's dark in here. It always is. Because that's what I do. Because I've been in the bright light. Bright light. You can't see him. Wait. Is that better? No, that's too much light. That's better. Well, these are the ones in the pan. They didn't make it to the, like the rejects. They didn't make it to the cookie bin. I don't know. Hopefully Christina's not bringing them with her to Friendsgiving or something. I don't know. I get ripped off. So I better make these last. That's, otherwise I'm not going to have another set. Let's see where I am. I was good before. I stopped in at Ken's show for a little while. That was a long show, but I just stopped in towards the end. And I was very busy today. I'll show you guys what I was up to outside in the cold. And I did grab some food later on because I was just kind of warming up. And I was my blood score was 130, which is like really, really good, especially for me. Like that's like if my doctor saw that on a regular basis, they would be like, "Oh my God," Let me just see, because it's gonna. I know, guilty as charged. I just had some turkey soup, nice homemade turkey soup that my ex-wife made, which was nice. She made it before she went out, and I had apple pie with she made fresh whipped cream. Oh, jeez. So let's find out where I am because, I've been busy. Well, let's see. Prick my finger. Let's take a reading. This isn't the good meter, right? This is the other one. I'm going to get this off. Let's see what Liz says. Hold on. I'm going to check on that. Oh, I'm a little high, fellas. 369. All right. So what I'm going to do, and I can have a little bit more because I'm going to inject for it, but I'll have to save it for later. So what I'm going to do, you're going to watch live, right? This is long acting, and I'm not going to put that much in there because it's getting too late. I'll do 5. It's not that late. That's no more than that. And because I usually just take it in the morning. And just to knock it down, it'll probably drop to like very normal, but if I have another one, I need at least 4 to 5 units. If I have a couple more, but I'm actually safer if I don't overindulge, right? So these things aren't all that good, so they get air in them. So I'm just going to do 4 units. 5 would probably be better. We'll go with 5. This way, in case you guys catch me over there, slide my hand into that thing, right? And now I actually have a little bit of fat on my stomach, so I don't feel it. Unless you hit the same spot. So if you hit the same spot that already has a hole in it, it hurts. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that was really gross. Look away, fellas. Look away. For those of you, I should have done another warning. For those of you that might be a little squeamish, I'm squeamish at times. I don't like the look of blood. Like when it's coming out, especially of my own body. Let me just see what Liz says. She goes, tried that. Always an issue. Forget. Nope. Unacceptable. Nope. Unacceptable. How do I spell that? Why am I not spelling unaccept? I can't spell tonight. I can't. I just can't tonight. No, force it. We're just chatting about something. So I'll be a little distracted. What do you guys see? I wanted to hang out for a little while tonight. Like I said, I was on Ken's for a little bit. See, when I'm getting all that exercise, but at night I eat a lot. Like a lot. I'll eat a lot anyway, but... So, let me see what you guys are doing. Let me see. I know Mark and Rob are here to AZ. We'll call him. Well, now he's Robert Walker 6125. So we'll have to call him RW for tonight because he's not AZT. Don't take AZT. I don't know what it is, but don't take it. Right? I think I know what it is. So Mark says hello to everybody. Robert says howdy. Uncle Mark says hey to him. They're saying hey back. He goes, I don't do cookies anymore. He says, I've avoided the insulin by avoiding the cookies. Yes. Rob says he lost 35 pounds. That's great. Cookies, Marcos. He goes, RW says, yikes, I was at 92 this morning. Yeah, but you're also taking an inhibitor. So, but I'm a diabetic, right? Like there's something broken. But I don't have all of the other symptomology that they usually, put along with it. So I'm telling you, it was from taking the pain meds for too many years because not just the pain meds, it was all of the other shit they had me on just to try to survive because it was so painful. But he goes, how are you doing? Robert RM, that's Robert Mailhouse. We'll call him RM and RW. Jamie. That's easy. He goes, I did my 50 units of semi-glutide today, right? And Ken C. He goes, yo, Arch, I went commercial free on YouTube. I couldn't take it anymore, right? There you go. That's what a lot of people are doing. It's not a bad thing. And you know what? YouTubers still get money from, you're talking about the payment plan option for, for watching YouTube where you can they don't give you commercials. You just make one payment and whatever. We still get paid from people that do that. You just sort of pay up front. I'm sure they take a little bit more than, normal, but that's for the service of it, right? A lot more people are going to be doing it. It's a good deal, right? So yeah, totally, yeah. They call me a diabetic now too. Yeah, of course they do. They're going to have to say that, right? Yeah, they have to because it's in that realm. But they got pretty much everybody, on type 2, some scenario. Premium 140 a year. That's not bad. Totally worth it. Yeah, I've thought about it too. Have it just basically for us, like if you're a YouTube, you just tell them to take it out of your earnings from YouTube and you don't even notice it, right? And it's easier, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't mind. The only commercials I don't like are the ones that you can't bypass. Those are really annoying, but again, for $150 a year, right? You can avoid that. Sorry, I have to just take a little bit more. Right. Sorry, Liz, I can't finish our conversation completely. I think she's done anyway. She's venting. I figured I'd let her vent. But yeah, Christina made these cookies. Oh my God, the double chocolate. And I think they're all homemade. Brown sugar. At least there's some iron in it. Iron. Oh, so good. But I gotta be careful. Small amounts. And butter, milk, cream. You gotta pour all of that good stuff in there, She was trying to turn it over. And also the double chocolate. So like the little Colonel Kisses, I forget who made those, but then also a Hershey's chocolate bar she cut up, which was also like, I don't have that often. So I tasted some, I stole some earlier when I went in there and I'm like, oh my God, this is really, really good. If you don't eat it a lot, when you go and you taste it again after months, a lot of things are like that. You're like, wow, whoa. Yeah. Here's TJM. He goes, hey, Arch. And he gets at C. And Rob says his A1C is normal again. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to do that ever again. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm too high. Ken says, I had a lot of 55-second commercials lately where you had to watch the whole thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That'll make you... I think they're driving us towards, getting the premium. Because the more they do of that, I think it's going to pretty much push most of us into saying, the heck with this, we're going to go premium now. We're done, right? Because I watch a lot of YouTube, all different kind of things. Who was I telling the other day? I know I was telling, I think, you guys last week, but I've been catching some of the YouTube movies. I think I was telling you guys, and one of the ones I was watching at the end, like at the climax, and somewhere else in the movie, they cut the sound. And then these were free, but they cut the sound. This is like, regular box office style movies, but they cut the sound. I'm like, what happened? Where's the sound? Right? Well, that's what free is. Now you can get another package too. They were sending me some stuff in my inbox. I forget what it was, what the price was, but it was for like the premium movie package on YouTube. But I was like, no, that's just too much money right now. I don't really have that. I don't think it was all that high, but it was a lot. And of course, Amazon wants me to, finish signing up for the music and all that, because I just watch the movies on Amazon from time to time. I haven't watched one in a while. There hasn't been anything I saw that I wanted to see. Robert RM says, RM's here. TGM's here. I'll be there next week, Ken. Nice, RM says. Vintage. Hey, Vintage. Benjamin Page. He goes, hey, Arch. Chatting to Kenny, he mentioned your professional background. Can you go into a little more depth on what you did for what? What I did for what? Is that at the bottom? And what did I do? What did I do now? I'm always getting in trouble for something. Because Christina, I hear her giggling upstairs when I went in to kind of collect my cookies. I hear this giggling, right? Comes downstairs. She's got, with Grumman, yeah. So she comes downstairs with a stupid laser pointer. And the little female cat, the young female cat, she gets worked up. Like when she was younger, I had to try to get her to calm down. She'll run around like with her brothers like crazy. And have you ever seen a cat pant? Right? Well, this poor little thing, she gets so worked up over things. And she'll start panting. I'm like, Christina, don't bring her to that point. Now, Mama Marley, who's their mother, she doesn't really care about the thing all that much. I think it's now just getting on her nerves. She was like, F this, I just want to go eat this food there. Let me go grab a little snack. While the laser thing is shooting around her. She's very different. She was the outside cat that was hanging on the door and trying to suck up to us and Christina to get in. Probably because she knew she was pregnant. We didn't know she was pregnant. I don't even know if she did know she was pregnant, but I think that they do. But yeah, she weaseled her way in. She's a very mature cat. A very dignified, blue, gray. I think she's like a Russian blue. Very dignified. She doesn't... Well, every now and then, though, you'll see her freak out and whatever, or she'll play with them. But she's got certain things that she needs to get done every day, right? And she's not all the time up and looking for mischief and everything. She's just not like that. I wouldn't say she's not an angel. She still does some stuff wrong. But, he goes, oh, as an engineer, I mean, right? No, I'm not an engineer, but I did a lot of technical stuff, including a lot of, oh my God, they had me do so many things. He goes, Robert Arm goes, I watched Boneyard on his Simplicity tractor today. Really? Yeah, we're going to take a little bit of look at Simplicity stuff in a little bit. He goes, Ken says, Tom wants to hear some cool Grumman stories. Yeah, vintage engineer. He goes, that's right, Ken. I don't know if I remember all of them. It's been so long. I usually think of them like anything, like when I think of it. But it was a pretty cool place. Like there's stuff that, depending upon where you go, because I worked at a bunch of different facilities, and there was one facility right in the middle of main business corridor. And it's one of those times when you get asked to come into a room for whatever reason. You're going to do some repairs, or somebody brings you in there. And you go into a room that's behind a little door, with a lock on it. And you press the buttons and you get in. And it looks like something from Star Wars, or from some movie that you've seen where you go into this little room and the next thing you know, a curtain gets pulled or whatever it is. And you're like, how did all of this shit get in here? Yeah, they take walls down and they're able to put them back very quickly and you'll never know. Right? It could be literally anywhere. Like they'll do it. So I actually have plans too. When my friend Don passed, he gave me a lot of the old plans that they had, the blueprints and everything, to where everything was. And like certain facilities maintenance people have certain access to certain things. These were old. These were older ones. Things do change and they're not there anymore. So I still have them. I was going to throw them out. I was going to tear them up, throw them out. Like, what the hell am I going to do? They're just, you want to, anything with paper, as you know, as the years go on. I had a whole bunch of really beautiful old books I got from Popular Mechanics and stuff like that. You open them up and they're filled with paper bugs. When am I going to put that in my room somewhere on a shelf? No, I mean, you don't even know what to do with it anymore. At some point, paper rots. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff that I did there. I think the other thing one thing that I thought was cool, which was just cool to a younger person. It's not impressive or anything, but it did me. I was out in Calverton, and we were working on F-14 K-mods, which are, at that time, that was taking from the boneyard and whatever was in service, because they were going to get rid of the F-14s after the D model. And so they decided to take whatever they could out of service that was worthy and then rebuild it into something similar to the latest version. So that's one of the projects I worked on. And so we got done with one. We went to go move it over to the test area. And so they winched it up in the air, and I wasn't really thinking much about it. And I was going somewhere. I was walking something. The guy was up on the scaffold, and he handed me the control box. And he's like, can you do me a favor? You don't have to touch anything. Just hold this button and just keep walking that way, right? I'm like, what? And there's an F-14 over my head. I just thought that was cool. I was like, it's impressive. And I'll give you one more, right? So I had to get a little bit of paint. They asked me to get a little cup of paint, which was not an uncommon practice. When you're getting ready to sell something to the Navy or whatever, and you touch it up if there's a scratch or whatever. And I hadn't been to the paint shop yet. Not there. And they're like, yeah, go over to that building, go over to the paint shop and ask for a small cup of paint for this. All right. I get close to the building, and it's, big hangar, right? Everything's big. And I didn't think anything of it. And I walk in through the door, and I hear this turbine water sound. It was loud. And I look over, and there is literally a huge waterfall coming down out of the ceiling and into the floor, and it just keeps coming. And I asked the guy, I'm like, well, what is it? He goes, well, that's our paint filter, right? And I thought about it. I'm like, which makes a lot of sense, because the air gets pulled past the water curtain, and as you're spraying a plane, I mean, I had never painted a plane before, and as you're spraying the plane, the air gets pulled past that sheet of water, and the water captures it, and it's very easy to filter particulate matter like that. And it pretty much pulls everything in, and whatever the water doesn't get in terms of maybe an organic compound that's still in the air is filtered, but most of it is just filtered through the water. But it's so ridiculously huge. Like, that's the thing. It's like everything is a scale on a size at which, which is the coolest part about working in any aircraft factory, I would imagine, or any large, like if you go down and look at some of the factories for the cars and stuff, it's big scale. That's cool stuff. But yeah, there's all kinds of stories. There's just unlimited stories, that weird shit. Yeah. It says, yeah, that's right, Ken. Ken says, yeah, we still use water walls, yep, and floors, yep, in our booths. It just works. Yes, Brett. Yeah, it just works, but they're huge. And of course, we committed just about every sin you can imagine until, well, eventually we were talking about all the chemicals and everything. The chemical plumes, they didn't really know what to do. But later on, they invoked all the standards, and that's when we all started going for training. All the hazmat and all the hazardous chemicals, and they had proper recycling and containment. And I thought to myself, why didn't they just do this years ago? They didn't care. Companies, I don't care who they are, they don't give a shit. They'll poison. That's why they're not here anymore. I think it's that mostly they're not here anymore is because they created Superfund sites underneath the very structure that they sat on. They poisoned everything, and they didn't want the liability. And nobody talks about it anymore. They don't talk about anything like that. You hear all this nonsense about trying to save the earth using electrical and all battery technology and the new green. They never talk about the pollution and that it's creating, the resources it uses. But more than that, they don't talk about the pollution that's been created for 100 years or the past 70 years. They stopped talking about all that. You never hear anything about the Superfund sites that were created and abandoned. Never hear anything about that anymore. Nobody wants to take ownership of it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Right? That's the world we live in. That stuff is poison. It's useful, but it's still poison. Yeah, we were talking about that on Ken's show like last week sometime, Ken. Let us go home. Let me turn that heat down a little bit. The other thing I liked was, the fond memory I had was 7 o'clock in the morning, we have what I used to call a pep chew or a chew pep. We all had to go into a meeting room. And generally speaking, it was the meetings were about what we were doing, what we were going to do for the day, what the project goals were, what we had accomplished, what we had done. But there was always this chewing out part of it where I used to say that when I would walk out of there and I'd say to the fellows, I'm like, why do I have a smile on my face and still feel like there's Vaseline all up inside my bum chute? And they would laugh, right? Because it's like they would try to leave you in a good way, but you could wind up getting your ass reamed out or a job threatened or whatever. I mean, this stuff was important, right? It was very serious. The simplest little thing that would go wrong could destroy a multi-million-dollar machine and kill somebody or kill a lot of people. And that happened. But most of it was just, that wasn't the case. That was really only the case when you were right up close with the Department of Defense and, and machines that had weapons on them and carried weapons that did crazy things. But we used to sit on the runway and watch the touch and goes and watch them fly out, hit the afterburners, test the engines. That was fun. Yeah, there's a completely different sound to a jet engine than a turbine engine, and there's a completely different sound to a jet engine that when they deploy the afterburners, and it's brutal. Probably another reason why they got rid of it, because it's just so damn loud. I still hear them. We have a military base that's not far. I see the Black Hawks fly overhead, and occasionally I hear a military jet somewhere off in the distance. I can hear the engine. It's not a regular jet. It's not a turbine. And I can hear the afterburners, and I don't know where. I never bothered to look where it's coming from because I don't care anymore. Right? I'm mad now because I'd be like retired by now. Years ago, for sure. If I wanted to. Most people didn't retire though. They just stayed. Because what the hell else are you going to do? I mean, it's fun to work at those places generally, although you work a lot. That's one thing. Yeah, right. Superfunds, Ken says, yeah. And he goes, Rob goes, RW goes, you think those manufacturing sites are bad? The national laboratories are worse, so I've heard. My friend Phil used to work for some of the national laboratories. And one of the ones he worked at, doing AutoCAD work, and one of the ones he worked at was, out in the desert, wherever it was. And they pull the same crap that every government and state agency does. They get a budget to buy stuff. And they have to use that budget. And so what they would do is they would take all of the stuff from last year's budget that they didn't use, dig a gigantic hole in the effing desert, bury it, and then order the new shit. He's like, you look in that pit and it's like perfectly good stuff. He's like, you'd be in heaven. I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely would, but you can't take it. It's, they'll make it illegal. You can't, that would be stealing. So they just bury it. Bulldozers, dig a hole, drop it in there. And most of it was not toxic. I don't know if all of it was. I mean, something could be leaking, But yeah, whatever it was, cabinets, parts, tools, I don't know. What he said, whatever. Like, they would just throw it in there.
Oh, let's see. Yes, yeah, amputations. Wait, hold on. Yeah, we were talking about this last week. Ken says we had Ray Bestis here. They ended up capping it, and now it's a Home Depot and a Walmart. Yeah, they cap it. That's what they do. They put a parking lot over it. Or a junior high grade school. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. It's horrible. Ken goes, I witnessed a few amputations on presses. Yeah, that's not good. He goes, Ken says, did you see the new upgraded 810 Warthog with the new high power engines? No, I haven't seen that yet. Ken says, Los Alamos, yep, Y12, Rocky Z Flats, Lawrence Livermore, worked at all of them. Yeah, those are great experiences. Ken says, let's see, RW says, Longer has a nice tritium plume and Brookhaven, yeah, and cesium 150 and strontium 90 and all that good stuff. You know, for a while, we used to build. Fairchild Republic built the first Warthogs, and I remember the fellas coming home after work and whatever, and driving through there. And Fairchild was a pretty cool place. One of the things I did a whole bunch of years ago is I bought, when I was into flight sims, I bought the copied joystick rudders and throttle assemblies, and they are almost identical to like the 810 Warthog or the Warthog C level, whatever C, I forget which one it was. And the flight sim is a flight sim, so it's not arcade. You can't do an arcade, so you have to go through all the training simulations, and it takes a while just to get the damn thing off the ground. Eventually I got rid of all that stuff because it just takes so long to do. You have to study it. And even though it's a flight sim, because I had all these big monitors and everything, so I would kind of sit back and spend some time. And I remember one time I couldn't quite navigate all that well yet. And I forget where I was flying over. And I was chatting with my friend Phil. He goes, oh, Batumi Airport. He goes, oh, I think I know where it is. He goes, let me go on. Because he's down in Carolina. I'm up here. And he went on Google Earth. We're chatting on the phone. He goes, I know where you are. And then he started giving me coordinates to steer to. I'm like, you're my navigator now, right? Yeah. That was so funny. He did. He managed to get me back to the airport I took off of, and I was able to land before I ran out of fuel. That was hysterical that night. That was a lot of fun, you know, because it's all part of it. You have to do everything. And then you just keep going through all these different training scenarios and combat scenarios, and you have to learn how to deploy the weapons, which is not easy. The plane flies weird. So you can blow your own tail off because the bombs are big. And if you don't get it right, and you don't release the bomb right and pull up correctly, it doesn't accelerate very well, and it has weird behavior. And you'll blow your tail off for sure. Yeah, and I've done that. Yes, fail on a simulator. Yeah, it's a hard plane to fly, actually. It flies okay, but it can be difficult to fly because you're flying it in a combat way, and the equipment that it has on it, the arsenal of democracy that it's got on there, it's brutal. You know, it's just absolutely brutal. So, yeah, you could destroy the plane and kill yourself if you're not careful. Not to mention the things that you're blowing up. When they blow up in front of you or even behind you, it doesn't move that fast. It is agile, as long as you're not close to the ground. I think if you go too slow, it doesn't go very fast. And if you go too slow, it handles weird. It doesn't have a lot of speed. You have to be, I don't know, 150 knots or so at minimum. You land at like 125 like a lot of planes, and it has a weird angle because of the way the tail is. No more than 10 degrees on any takeoff or landing. And you have to be at like 10 degrees. Otherwise it won't work. So it's just an interesting plane. I don't think they'll ever really get rid of it. It's too cool of a plane. It really is. Remember there was that woman? I don't know if she was I don't think she was reserve. I think she was an actual pilot, but she had so much damage to her plane. She managed to land it. She managed to get back to base, back to the airport. And on the console on the side, there are these little trim tabs adjustments, a little joystick, and this control, some additional controls over the flight surfaces. She had lost, I mean, you need some big flight surfaces for a plane like this. She had lost control over her major flight surfaces. And she managed to get it back by throttling the engines, and they're very powerful, and using this little trim section over here on the left-hand side. And I actually had to do that at one of the flights I was on where I got damaged. And yeah, I was able to actually, I couldn't land it properly, but actually, I'm like, I was thinking of that lady, and I'm like, oh my God, this, what she had to go through in real life to fly the plane from this little piece of crap thing over here. This plane is not responding. It does, but it just takes forever, you know. Crazy. But you sat in a bathtub of titanium, so you were unlikely to get your ass shot off. It was a good plane. It was really kind of neat. Like I said, it's not fast. Not at all. DJM say, Ken says, eventually everything will be remote piloted from trailers. Yeah, by expert gamers. I hope not. Which is somebody says, how's the repair business? Staying busy? I kind of, you know, I mean, I do some repairs. Well, this year I did a lot more, but I've been more busy, I think, with repairs than anything else. I just got in. We'll see it. I'll put it up in what time is it? You know, about 36 minutes in. I'll put it up in a couple minutes. It's like an 8-minute little short I made to show you what I was doing today. But I was fooling around with. I'm trying to get everything cleaned up for the end of the year. At the same time, I've been promising Big Mike to get his tractors in, so they're all clean now. And I cleaned them up in the yard. And it's a week or so ago, I had one more nice day. We had like another nice day. It was like 54 degrees up here, and the wind had died down. And I'm like, I'm going outside with the pressure washer. So I cleaned Big Mike's other Simplicity Sunstar, which was disgusting. It was really bad. And I might show that in a little bit. But I got that cleaned up. And I got a few other things cleaned up. And then there's the John Deere Zero Turn. So I managed to get that in today. And I got Big Mike's parts tractor. So that I also cleaned up. And a bunch of other things. But this has been doing this in between the freezing cold, ridiculously windy days and the rain. And we don't have any snow yet, but we keep getting these nor'easters. I think that's it. I mean, today was kind of nice out, but it wasn't warm. The wind died down, so it was more tolerable. I didn't realize I was cold until like I was on Ken's live show and I went and got something to eat, and then I finally sat down. I was like, oh crap. Now I'm warm, but and he goes, tomorrow they say 60 degrees, but the rain, right? So I can't do anything out there. Yeah, let me cue this up. It's pretty short, but in a little bit I'll show you how dirty his tractor was. Really bad, but this is kind of fun. Actually, you know, I gotta pee first. I'll wait. Well, let's see what I got. Leave desktop audio on, and I'll check the rest of it as I go. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, it's always something with this crap. Well, let's start. That's about 2,000 pounds of tractor right there.
Oh, something happened with the steering. It don't work no more. Oh, that's why I picked the other one. All right, let me pull this thing around front. Yeah, she's fighting me every step of the way. Oh, yeah.
It's old, it's cranky like me, it doesn't want to move. Like me.
I'm gonna have to course correct, slowly turn the wheels. I want it nose in, which makes sense. So I'm gonna have to sit and work with it for a while. It's almost in the right direction. The property's narrow, so, but it's close. That tire there, the rear one's getting a little flat. Getting dark. It's almost turned around. I'll turn the tires the other way, drag it forward. Then we should be able to get it from behind. Plus, I can shove it. But, you know, it tears up the lawn. You can shove it. Yeah, it's time for the bullfight.
That's all.
Yeah, I'll just bring it a little closer, and then I'll line it up the way I want, but we'll have to shove it around once we get it in. I need air in that tire, though. Yeah, that's almost perfect lined up. A little bit more. All right, that's good enough. I gotta get the, I have lights here. I don't have lights in the backyard, so I gotta go do the John Deere zero turn. Get that in first. The battery was dead. Should be charged by now. I'll put air in the tire and in this guy. Just a few things to do, but yeah, we'll get some air in that tire. It's close enough. I have lights over here. We're about to lose the light, but I mean, it just works really good, shoving everything around. There's different points where I can tug, pull, shove with the hooks and everything. It is what it is. You know, there's nobody here to help me move it. Besides, you wouldn't be able to steer it anyway. The steering wheel doesn't do anything anymore. Yeah, that's not going to get the traction I need to get it up there, so we'll use the hoist. And that should be able to pull it, I hope. It's still, the tires are still wet and everything. So I think with the hoist we'll be able to get it up. But I'm not going to keep fussing with it now. It's slipping. There's dirt on the tires, even though I tried to clean it. She did not want to start. That Bendix was spinning. She's been out like that for too long now, and it's too cold. But that's for another day. It's in enough. And it's kind of in line. Let me go back to the tractor. That's more important right now. Well, that leaves me a lot of room. a couple of ways I could do it. Not a lot of room, but let's take a look. All right, there's certainly enough room to walk around, and this is movable, but I'm going to need this welder and that lathe to do something, to try something for the green machine. And this is pretty good, and I can move it back, right? Also, I can jack it up and position it where I need it. So this can just be moved out of the way right now and just be pushed to the side. One of the things I want to do is I want to come up with some kind of a chain holder for all of this, like maybe 2 of them. Anything will work, but I got to look around. I don't know if I want to bolt it on or weld it on. I don't know. We'll see. We got to experiment, but this is no good. This chains flop all over. But I think this is pretty good. Right, we got room here to move. If I need to move this somewhere, because what I've got planned is to make up an all thread and restore a bolt. I just want to try it out. So it's kind of in a good position where I am right now. There's room here. And once I shove this out of the way, I'll put it over here more in this corner. And for now, and then we're gonna take off. He needs this for his plow. We need to take it off completely and give it to him. We'll take the hood off. We'll start draining the oil. We'll get it up in the air. This is in the way, so I got to think about where do I want to do it. But we don't need to bring it up all that high. Plus, everything can move back, and when the door is closed, there's room in this area. Now, you'd say, well, why don't I just do it there? I could have, but I want to be able to get around this thing, and I want to be able to set up the camera stands. And I need room to do a little bit of work over there, and I need some access to that. So there's not a lot of room in here, but there's enough. It's a big tractor. All right, let me finish up. I'm getting tired. Isn't that a nice tractor? I think that thing's nice. Let me catch up with you guys. I think that thing's cool. I get a kick out of that thing. So we're going to be pulling the motor out of it, and then it gets shoved into the backyard. So I'll pull the motor, a couple other things. I don't know why the steering's broken. That could be a big problem, because I was telling him that it did work. That motor is what we need. It runs good. And the steering did work, but I noticed something wasn't right with it. Now, it's power steering. And the valve assembly is in the steering stack. It's like a box, but it's stacked with it's almost made like in plates, singular plates. Like a stack would be, think of like an ignition coil, how the wafers are stacked. It's kind of made like that. And in there is also a gear assembly that can manually turn the wheel. However, it's not manually turning the wheel. And the power steering part worked. Everything else worked. I don't know. I mean, it's old. It's beat. It's, I don't know, the 80s. Okay, so I decided, because he was like, I don't care what tractor. I'm like, no, Mike, I want to give you the good one. We'll just take the motor out of it, because I've been over everything else on that tractor. He just killed the motor. It was fine, but he killed it. So let's just take the good motor out of the beat tractor and take the bad motor out of the good tractor. And, we'll put this motor in that one. And that's the easiest thing. So it's not going to be in there that long. As soon as I get done with the John Deere, basically, then I'll pull that motor out. And that thing won't be there. And I don't know when I'm going to pull the motor apart. Something broke in it. I think what could have been broken, because it makes a racket, but it runs. So we had some weird problems with it when I was going over the whole tractor, and I was fooling around with the engine, towards the end. And I noticed that the governor wasn't working right. It wasn't able to behave the way my engine behaves. It wasn't able to come up to the high RPMs when you put the selector, the engine control lever up. And then, like on mine, you hear it will hunt a little bit. It doesn't stutter or fart or anything. It just hunts. If it starts to over throttle, it gets pulled back. And then what you would do is just pull the throttle back a little bit if you feel it's really too high, because it doesn't need a lot of RPM. It doesn't exceed, mine does not exceed its max RPM, but you would hear it. It would hunt a little bit, and then you pull it down, and she'll settle into that RPM that you need, whichever one you want. His would not make full RPM. It just didn't seem to want to work right. Not having this tractor before until we bought it, and the first time it ever really became a good running tractor was when it left here. So I said, I'm not really quite sure what's going on. And he said it felt like it was down on power. And I said, I don't think that your governor is working properly. But then it developed an oil leak from the oil line going up to the gauge, and he wasn't paying attention. He's listening to ABBA on his headphones, cranking ABBA, right? You know, and the Carpenters, which I shouldn't say it because I like the Carpenters. But and then it was leaking all over the place, and then he put crap oil in, and something happened again, and he didn't seize the motor. It's banging. It's loud too, so I don't run it anymore. But yeah, let's see. Brett says, yeah. Brett says, good thing I put up my light. Yeah, this is today, like the last day that we're going to have. Maybe tomorrow, I doubt it. Maybe the day after. Thursday is when the next moment we get. RM says, John Deere ZTR mower that is having starter issues. It's just because it sat out and I washed it. Right? It needs to be lubricated. It's been sitting out. I washed it. I haven't really used it. I took the cover off of it. The cover's been off it. It's been raining cats and dogs. And the battery probably was getting a little weak, and it needs to be lubricated. I have to go over that machine. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is that I haven't looked into that machine yet, but it will roll forward if you pull it. It doesn't go backwards if the engine's not running. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do to get that thing on there. There must be some neutral position for the hydro system or whatever the hell they're using. I don't know. There must be something in there. I don't know. But I can't roll it backwards. I really can't roll it forwards either, but it will roll forwards if I drag it with the tractor. But the tractor cannot push it backwards. I mean, it can, but the wheels won't spin. So to finish getting it up on the table, I'm going to have to open up the manual. I got to open up the manual anyway. I got to go get it and open up the manual and look at the service scenario. That motor's going to need tune-up. It's going to need the valve adjustments. I cleaned it really good, so we can get it everything now. I can see everything. It's never been cleaned. I pulled the blades off of it. I put air in some of the tire. I got to check that again and make sure there's nothing leaking. And I got to go over that tractor. So whatever it is, and I got to fix the thing that's broken in the front. So whatever the solutions are, that's going to be coming up this week. I have to get to that and get that done and get that out of here. So that's what's on deck. Let's see. Yeah, Ken says, love the hydro one. I know, I was going to make a comment about that. I love it. I love it. Mine needs to be adjusted a little bit, my hydro. It's when you put it into neutral, you kind of have to come back down a little bit low and then up a little bit and throw it into the neutral slot. And sometimes I have to put the brake on because she'll creep. That's not good. You don't really want it creeping. It's not just a safety issue. It's also, you're going to just heat the transmission up needlessly, So that's another thing I need to get to. But I need to rebuild my motor. It smokes when I first started. Probably valve seals and valve guides and stuff like that, I want to get some more of those old grinding tools and tool sets. And I mean, I might buy the newer ones like Ken has for his Kohler. But, I want to get some of the old, the laminations, Brett says. Yeah. Tell the gang I said hi, please. Yep. RW says, you need to add a small turbo on it. Yeah, right. It'll spool it. Very sensitive governor. Yeah, it is. It is, definitely. The relief valve. Yeah, it's got to be a lever or something somewhere. TJ goes, you can fix it. Ken says, hydro creep. Yeah. Need adjustment. The tine, what is that word? Need adjustment, possibly broken return springs. Yeah, the trunnion, yeah. I went over it. It's very smooth, but it's old. And one of the springs on the nicer tractor for Big Mike is broken, and somebody fashioned a different spring in a transverse position, which works okay and all.
His adjustments are super tight. Really, really not rusted. They're super tight. So I said to him, we've got stuff with no play now in it, that's not all worn out. I'll try and do as much as I can, and we'll transfer over parts. And it's nice to have a parts tractor. It's always nice to have a parts machine. With parts car, Rob and I will tell you, all the parts cars I've been through, right? We need another parts car. Yeah. Oh, I love parts cars. Parts machines are the best, for sure. So just to guys, in case you guys don't know, but let me see if I can find it. But yeah, at the end, you see my tractor, and when I finished working on Big Mike's tractor is what you see there. But let me just see. Do I have this one? Let me see. Just to show you guys, just to tie it in for those that don't know, and later on that come to the channel. Let's see if I can find it. I don't think did I? Yeah. I mean, I record so much that I lose track of what I do in my recordings and everything. One day, 1 week blurs into the next. Is this it? This might be it. Let me see. I'll bring it up. Yeah, I think it's it. Hold on.
All right, it takes about an hour to dig this thing out.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'll bring it over here to this monitor. It's raw footage, so it'll be a little shaky. And there's two of them.
All right, it takes about an hour to dig this thing out, and I used a little bit of super clean. He had oil leaks and stuff, so those oil leaks cause a lot more stuff to stick, and so we got some of that off. Several passes. I'll leave it to sit to dry in the sun for a little bit while I'm closing up the rest of everything. It'll drip dry. I'll cover my machine. Many passes actually. My biggest concern is as you're cleaning off the deck and everything, it's blowing all over the underneath. And I really want to just, get the underneath of the frame and the engine so that I can stick my hand in there. But, the covers need to come off. That cover, it's going to need to be washed again. But, the weather, was maybe 50 degrees today. So we're not going to get that much. Maybe another day or two. Mostly it'll be 30s, 40s,
pretty?
20s, windy, snowy. But this is clean enough, certainly, to drag in. So the machines are both clean, clean enough. And that one comes in next. So, and my next job for my tractor is to go in the garage and position this tractor to see where it fits the best. I want to maybe move a table, and I can even use it to move some stuff around. Yeah, there's still junk down by the frame, but we can't get everything. You're not going to get it. It's going to need to be cleaned down there. It's going to be filthy. Which reminds me, before I close up, somewhere in there, somewhere in here, because they still have the snapper to put away and the other machines to come out and make transfers. But somewhere in here is a big steel pry bar, wrecker bar or whatever.
I couldn't find it.
I need to go find that before I put everything away, because that can help me move stuff around. I don't remember what I did with it.
I gotta get the snow blowers out
somewhere.
Let's see. There's
All right,
another.
Let me close up.
I think this shows it before I cleaned it.
I got this thing moved back, so it's ready to come in. Probably another couple of days or so I'll pull it in. But for now, it's where I need it. It is still clean. And I had to move it back with the engine, so I recapped this back. It will not go backwards. I can drag it forward, but it won't go backwards. And I got the yard cleaned up a lot better. I ran it down good,
Yeah, nice.
Ground up everything, got another bag of trash out, got into some areas. Not everything, but enough. We could see how nasty this is. So I got about an hour and a half left of the day. And that's enough. See, it's all up in there. That's not good, right? You don't want dirt in there. So I'm going to get the pressure washer out I was going to try to take the deck off, but I think I'm going to wait. Let's just get this thing cleaned up, get the mud off, so that when I bring it in, or when I go to stick my hand in there to get the deck off and whatever, it'll be a little bit, cleaner. We'll get all kinds of crap underneath here. Yeah, she's just filthy at this point. So, yeah, we're gonna get this thing cleaned off. Let me go get the pressure washer. Probably move the pressure up a little bit too. And then we can be done for tonight. And then whatever tomorrow is supposed to rain, so I don't think I'm going to cover anything.
Yep.
It's all wet anyway.
It just rains. All right, let me come back. And it's really windy. What a horror. Right? Mela says, I got to get the left side tire on the GT track to turn around the right way. Really? I tried to get it done myself, but it was not easy for me to get it off on the rim, so I gave up. I know, it's very hard. Yep. Ken says, that is a Sunstar? Yeah. What model brand of hydro is that? No, it's Tecumseh, that brand, what the hell is it? I think it's owned by Tecumseh. Was owned by Tecumseh. Peerless. The big, gigantic Peerless transmission, transaxles. Yeah, huge. Very, very heavy. He goes, TJ goes, Anthony says, I'll come visit you, Arch. RW says, I've mitigated my need for a tractor with xeriscaping in my front yard and add patio area in the back, shrinking down the backyard to a manageable area of grass for the dogs. Yeah, that's pretty much what a lot of people do. Is all you need is that area for, if you have pets, something for them to go on or whatever. But yeah, it's nice, especially where in Arizona where there's no point in trying to run water to everything unless you're gardening, and you have a need for particular plants, whatever, which you can drip or light water, automatic watering, specific areas, or a lot of that. Keep it nice. But, in some areas, grass is a waste. Grass is the beauty of cutting grass is for animals and for people. But in suburbia, or even areas more in a more rural area, you keep the grass low so that you can move about in the areas you need to move. And it keeps the varmints and the ticks and the fleas and all those creatures down. I mean, it doesn't eliminate it completely, but, they're not going to come traipsing across the same way they would if in the tall grass. I mean, the tall grass, as it gets too tall, like my neighbor, there's all kinds of crap back there. And it's a mess. They don't really... I got pee. Hold on. Let's put Pea Lady on. I got to just do a quick pee. But Mailhouse loves the Pea Lady. And so I have to just kind of, pee break it. So get Shaw out or something. She'll be back. I'm sure of it. I have to send you a pic. He says, Brett says, I got to send you a pic of the electric oil extractor I put together at the shop. Nice. Yeah, we could all use one of those for sure. Because RW says, went to drip for the trees. Yeah, tree, shrubs, and cactus. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Those were good. My water bill came down by a third. Yeah, because you're not wasting it and evaporating it and spraying it all over. That's the best way to do it. Drip feeders and drip waterers. And the Pea Lady had to go. She had to go. But those are just really nice tractors. And they're so powerful. I mean, they just punch above their weight. You need to put more weight on them because they're, at 1,000 pounds, they're way more powerful than they need. Let's see, did Britt send me the extractor extravaganza? Let's see. I gotta log into it. Let's see. Oh, my Thanksgiving was good, Brett. Let's see. busy, just basic family, lots of food. I'm sorry to see it go. It's almost all gone already. In fact, I'm going to eat again after this show. I'm trying to hold on to. I've been picking at the cookies, but I really want to save them for later because I want to eat again. Let's see. Can we go widescreen? Let's see. Yeah, you can't really see it, but yeah, battery operated. Yeah, nice. On a hand truck and the container. It's a little bit bright. But you can kind of see it. Yeah, I could definitely use something like that. There's times when it's really the only way to get the damn oil out. You can't tilt every machine. You can't always get to everything. And sometimes it just makes such a mess trying to, take it out. Getting extension tubes to put on somehow or whatever. And it's sometimes it's nice just to be able to just shove something in there. And electric is definitely better than going like this. I mean, some of the better ones are nice because they pull a lot of oil in one pump, in one pull. But still, I actually do need something that I've been getting away without it. But there's always some tool. I mean, there's always some tool that I need, something I need to do. And I have to have a workaround. You can't have everything. Although, I mean, if you focus, because I don't focus on just one thing. So if you focus on just one thing, then you can kind of tool up and get everything you need for the most part to run a shop on a regular basis. But when you're doing a lot of different things, it's like, what do I need now? Put that on the list. And eventually I'll get around to it. But stuff's expensive and it takes a while. And sometimes you just make do with whatever you can. But oil is such a messy thing. But I got some ideas. I want to make some kind of a diesel tractor or something that I can shove old oil in and mix it with a little bit of diesel and have some fun with it and put it on YouTube and cut my lawn or I don't know, something. That's been sitting in my craw for a while. I would like to do something like that just because, right? And to make a YouTube video out of it. I was watching Rick Beato. You may not know who he is, but he's a musician and a producer. And he's at that point now with his channel that he's covered so many things. And because you start to hear this time of year, I always talk about this. The YouTubers that are like, oh, I'm going to be changing my channel. Or the ones that want to quit or whatever. Because at some point if you're doing it a lot, you get to a point where you want to move in a different direction. So I'd been talking about making a different channel and putting more music and tech on. And one of you guys said, why don't you try like AGT, Archer's Garage Tech, right? But I also want some stuff in like with music and how I make certain shorts and a little bit more about audio editing and audio recording and also video and audio on video and the stuff that I use and the techniques or whatever. And I guess that would kind of fit into that because I have put out some stuff like that on this channel, but it's not really appropriate. So we've talked about that. I'm like, well, what about, here's the name I want. So I need you guys to come up with something for the letter A because I want it not just AGT, Archer's Garage Tech, but I want it Archer's Garage T&A. I want Archer's T&A, right? It just sounds right? No, Arch, it's not a good idea. It doesn't sound, no, it's not an 80s, 90s, CB budget T&A. But I want that. Why can't I have Archer's T&A? Doesn't it kind of have like it rolls off the tongue? It feels nice. Archer's T&A. It feels like a play on words. But tech and what? Tech and what? I don't know. I can't think of anything for A. But then again, I'm not thinking right now. I'm just more excited about having the label of Archer's T&A. Archer's T&A. Brought to you by. Oh, I can't think of anything for A. I'll think about it some other time. If you guys have any ideas, be sure to write it in. I think one of these came up with Archer's AGT, which I thought was pretty cool. Right? Where I can put all the tech stuff, get it off of this channel. Some of the stuff that's on this channel, I can move off of this channel. And like the New Year's coming, and my idea is, all right, well, I'll start a channel, and then if I can come up with like 20 different videos
load them up to the channel. And when I have about 20 accumulated, then I can run for a couple of months without having to think about it and just release like one a week. And I'll have them uploaded with thumbnails and whatever. And just wait till if I have like 20, 25 with, uploaded with titles, filled out, the description, a thumbnail, and just kind of leave them there. And then when I'm ready, then turn the channel on public and release my first video. And it'll be, just TNA. You see you guys are saying. Yeah, Rick Beato. Yeah, Brett, do you know Rick Beato? Yeah. RW says adenum. No, that's too. No, Archtech. No, it's got to be a word for A. Tech and accessories. Oh, I like that, Ken. Yeah, you don't want them too flighty, too, highbrow. I don't want highbrow. I'm going lowbrow here. It's TNA. That's lowbrow. Not highbrow. We don't want to. Tech and accessories. I like that. Archer's technical addendum. No, nobody knows what that word is. Nobody even knows what an addendum is. It's like an addendum. Yeah, I get it. It's the addendum to Archer's Garage, but nobody's going to think about that. Not after I said TNA. They're not going to be thinking. They're thinking tits and ass. Right? They're not thinking addendum. Addendum. What kind of denim? Is it blue denim or is it you wearing black denim today? No, addendum. No, nobody's going to. No. We need lowbrow. We're going low, right? It's got to be clicky. It's got to be, I kind of like that, though. Like, technical addendum is nice, but no. It's got to be something closer to like what Ken said, right? Accessories or something like that. Something that isn't too highbrow, that kind of fits in, but I like accessories. That's a possibility, or something to that effect. Addendum's a great word, and I'm not beating up on it. It's a good idea, but it's like it's too highbrow. We need guttural. You gotta hit where everybody's gonna get it. Somewhere in there. We'll come up with something. TNA. We'll get something. We're getting closer. So you guys got me a little closer. And my head's not into it right now anyway. My head's right now, what I hear is the whine of a Kohler 20 horsepower Magnum engine and a big ass hydro tranny behind it. I'm still hearing it in my head. That was fun though. I like working on these tractors, and it'll be fun working on this John Deere as well. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'll get the manual and we'll go over it. That's a nice big motor. I don't think that motor's on my channel. He's had it now for over 4 years. So I did start writing it down. It's written down. I wrote down everything about it. It's on one of my clipboards. I know it's over 4 years old. I just forget. It's been a few weeks. So it's well older than that. And he's used it enough to where we need to go into the valves. At least just check them, do the full service. And on that machine and on that motor, it doesn't need a lot. And there is just one thing broken. It's the front hanger for the deck. And I think I showed you guys. And I got to get a price on it. Here, I'll show you. I think it's over here somewhere. I don't know. That's it? Yeah. So I'll get a price on it. But I want to see, because even if I don't give it to them or use it, I want to just take my TIG welder. And for practice, so it's broken here. So there's the typical lift arm scenario, right? Hangs up top. And then down here, here's the adjustment for it. Right? And it would just kind of go together. And he sheared it, because they break everything. But you see the other machine that's out there, the walk behind, the Cub Cadet walk behind, what the hell they did to it? That's another episode. So what I was thinking was I'll get a price on it, but I want to grab a piece of all thread and extend this broken piece. And I'll chuck it up in the lathe, and this way I can get it all nice and centered. I'll grind it down. I don't have the cutter set up on my lathe yet, but I'll grind it down somewhere and cut it about here. And I'll put the all thread on it, and I'm going to TIG weld it. And it should keep it nice and straight, and I can rotate the lathe and get to the whole thing just for practice to see if I can do it. And if it comes out fine, well, then I won't order this part. If it doesn't come out fine, I screw it up, well, then I'm going to order the part. It's not expensive, but I'm looking for any little project I can do. I need to build my skill set. I went over, I showed you, I picked up that nice new helmet, that new TIG helmet, which is over here. I'm going. I haven't seen it. I've been so busy. Oh, she's yelling, you're too far away. Nobody can hear you. Yeah, I know. I get excited. I'm getting tired, too. I haven't seen it since I showed it to you guys because I've been so busy. All right, nice Miller. You know, I just love this kind of stuff. Hold on, wait. Let's put that on. We got to put it in such a way that I'm not glaring you guys. Something like that, right? No? Oh, you're blaring us in the face. So I'm like, well, you know, let's experiment. And I picked up another tank of gas. Let's have some fun. I can't wait to just fool around with it. Any excuse. I don't have the time in with TIG like I do with everything, all the other welding that I've done. So I know I got to put my time in. I'm not just going to sit there and lay beads just to practice. That gets boring, you know. With a bunch of medallions, whatever they call them, coupons, whatever they call them. I'm like, I'll do that too, but I want to make something, anything, just to kind of get caught up. Who was dinging me? Where's my phone? What do I do with it? Is this it? I think I heard somebody dinging me. Yeah, Ken. Yeah, it says, look at the chat. What do we got? Hold on. Ken, look at the chat. What's in the chat? Augments. Oh, that's a nice one. Yes, I know, Rick. Tech and applications. Ooh. That's nice. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting close. Yeah, I got to save this chat. We have to pop out this chat and leave it up before I leave because I don't want it to. A lot of times my chats don't come back. I don't know why. They don't come back days later or whatever. I don't see them. Chats are not available for this live stream. Brett says, Arch, you need to check out the Greystones. They are a kid band, but they cover 70s classic rock songs. Nice. Tech and adaptations. Ooh, we're so getting close. Hey, Trooper. He says, hey, Arch, my X758 PTO turns off as soon as I try to do a K-turn while mowing my yard. Oh, you have something's wrong. You have a bad connection. It could be an interlock, but most likely you have a bad connection. You're going to just, buzz it out. You're going to have to jiggle the wires and buzz it out. Get yourself a beepo meter or a voltmeter. Beepo meters are better, or lights, a light style, and make sure that that's connected well. And what a nice thing about the beepo thing is that no matter where you are, because if it's just a light and you can't see it and you're back here and you're underneath and you're jiggling, you're like, I think I see. But the beepo meter is nice because it's going, ee, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that you have to do anyway. And then you're probably going to want to look at whatever you got in terms of any interlock, because that could be a problem as well. It's coincidental, because some problems are weird. They're coincidental. Tech and adaptations. So this guy said, check this out. He goes, thank you. Check this out. Let me bring it up. Hold on. I don't think I'm going to play it. No, I'm not going to play it. But I have to be able to hear, because in case it's running, and I don't want it running. Let's see. This guy says to me, all right, let me see. We'll get it out. Yeah, here it is here. So this is, I'll just show you real quick. Well, this is a fellow that just commented, and he commented on the auger transmission rebuild, right? So I'll just quick go to this.
Month
look,
3, month
Bald
6,
Ben.
forever. These four
Very
milestones
nice.
represent...
Thank you. So this is,
Yeah. So this is the rebuild of one of the augers, one of the, this is a nice older unit, but I rebuilt the entire drive assembly for the auger. And this guy writes, so this is fun to do, but, he says, Lewis says, he goes, when do I have time? Foresight in the summer to do this? Probably not. Right now, there is 5 inches of snow. The differential is broken, and this overall is not something to do while my wife is waiting. Right? Well, I don't even know how to answer that. Like, how would you guys answer that? Kind of sad in a way. Like, yeah, because nobody services anything, and that's when it breaks. And it usually they wear out and break because people are not putting the correct shear pins on and such. So, I mean, look, when you're cutting your lawn is when your lawnmower breaks. When you're trying to blow snow is when your snowblower breaks. But I think it was Klaus was going on and on today, and he was talking about, well, that, maintenance means that it's going to be a lot more money. If not, you're buying a new machine. And of course, in a tribute to Klaus, we have to do a Klaus tribute, because that's just what happens.
Klaus, thank you.
I am Klaus. I am Klaus. I am Klaus.
I am Klaus. Well, this is one of those things. Hold on. I gotta find my ATEM cameras. How would you answer that? Usually it's from lack of maintenance, and it's from lack of taking care of the machine, and then somebody shoves a bolt in place of his shear pin, or whatever. They beat the hell out of it, and it goes bad. Now, they can wear out. What I tell people to do is take the little cap off and squirt some oil, heavyweight oil in there. Or if you have some, because usually they put grease in there, but the grease is no good. Shoot some. I got to get some thick oil, like double order something. I keep forgetting to do that. Although I kind of like what was it Tyler was saying today? Who was it that was saying that they like to use, or was it Klaus, that they like to use the bar and chain, with that brand of bar and chain with Castrol? Because I like the chain wax because it's sticky and it goes in like a penetrant, but then it waxes up like a grease, but it's wax. But that's not for something like, what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't mind having, because I wouldn't mind having something that I can spray through a container, a rattle can, and that goes in and then sets up as whatever. I like chemicals like that. And a bar and chain that's tacky and sticky, because bar and chain lube is a lube. I mean, it is a greasy oil, so to speak. Whereas the wax is a lube, but it's not for something like a chain, a cutting chain. It's for a bicycle chain, but I want something with a little bit more oil in it. And yeah, you could probably push that into one of those little gear cases. I just prefer a heavyweight oil without any tacky or sticky, because there's grease in there. It'll loosen up the grease a little bit. It'll rehydrate it, oil it up again, and it'll move around. For lack of doing anything else, putting more grease in doesn't really help. I think you're better off with some kind of a heavyweight oil, personally. But if it's been damaged, that's not going to do anything, So they wear out. That sucks. I don't know what to tell the guy. How do you answer that? I'm like, I don't want to beat him up for it. But I thought that was an interesting thing to say. He goes, summer grease for bars. Yeah, summer grease. Yeah, it makes me feel fine. That's a great song. I got to do that. I have to sit down. I haven't had time to do anything with music since the last thing that I did. But I'll make time again. I got to get all this end of year stuff and holiday stuff out of the way. I did spend time getting this shop vacuumed out, mopped, and waxed. I waxed the floor. I put a good sealer on it. As you see, I pretty much kind of cleaned up the garage. So everything is pretty much clean in here. Relatively organized. Holiday ready. You know, I don't feel like it's gross in here or anything. I mean, it's not 100% shop, but I got to get back to work. You know, for at least like another couple of weeks. So I took way too much time off. Working on the yard, doing a little work around the house. I have the list of stuff. I still have some things to do in the house. I have the list of stuff to do for the girls and for the house and even for myself. Did most of the yard work. Almost everything is pretty much done out there. I could probably look the other way, and whatever garbage is left out there or whatever can be dealt with in the spring. There's a few things in my way in a few spots. One more thing I got to do is I got to get out my snowblowers. I got to put the snapper away on its butt, clean out the shed, and put the snapper away, get out my snow machines, get my plow ready, because I keep hearing stuff. All you guys around the country, like, they're all getting snow and crazy stuff, and we're just getting high winds and rain and nor'easters that just make rain. What about a vacation? I don't do vacations. That costs money. You know, vacations are for rich people without responsibilities, right? No, I don't do vacations. I just take days off. And I take some time and I do my thing. But no, I'm not a vacationer. I don't really care for vacations. Usually too much stuff to do, right? And then I got to keep up with customers and everything else. And they don't take vacations, right, when I'm around. I got 2 machines to get out, and I got 1 to sell if it will sell. I have a leaf blower, that nice Chinese leaf blower. If it'll sell, I got to put it up for sale tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to do it today. I took some more pictures of it. It's all done. Mom says, no snow here. No, you don't get snow. And Rob says, what's the point of making money if you don't spend it on yourself? That doesn't always work like that, Rob. I have children and child and other things, and not everybody gets to do that. Most people can barely pay their bills. According to the statistics, people are living off of their credit cards. And from what I keep seeing of like Las Vegas, like, it's been a ghost town a lot lately because people don't have the money to spend on and just throw it away. They have to hold on to it a little bit longer. So, yeah, a lot of that's happening. She isn't a child any longer, right? Yeah, but all the cost involved, the sacrifices. Ask anybody that's had a child and you'll know what I mean. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever recover from all of that. Ask Ken how much he spent on college tuition. Yeah. Takes a while. You know? Even if I retire, like, I don't think I'll ever really retire. It's just not my style. There's always something to do. You know? I don't like to sit around and just... on vacation to do what? You know, it's just not my thing. What the hell am I going to do? Retired doesn't. Brett says he refused to travel, and RW says retire doesn't mean death. No, it doesn't. No, but just I don't know. I would disagree. Occasionally, I catch these channels of these fellas that. Particularly guys, although I don't know about the women because I probably don't watch them, but I keep catching all these men that retire, like around our age.
they did everything right. Right. And they got a job, they got the education, they put their kids, they had a marriage, whatever else. And now they're retired and they're like a couple of weeks, they clean up the garage, they do a few things, they go take a quick vacation, they come back and they get on these channels and they're like these sad sacks and I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what else to do. And now I'm living alone and my wife left me and I have nobody and my family doesn't, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what this is? And then they get like 100,000 views per video. I'm like, whoa, there must be a lot of people that are like this. Yeah, go check them out. Have you guys ever seen any of those just by accident? You know, because you get something in your feed and I'll check out anything for a few minutes, right? Another guy I watch, I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he had an interesting perspective on some things, but then more lately it's, I can't afford my cancer treatments. They're taking my house away because I can't afford that. We can't pack up everything because I need it. I couldn't afford it anyway if I would have put it into a storage facility. And if I did afford it, I wouldn't be able to get it most of the stuff that I need anyway. And I think I'm going to die of cancer. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. But that's real stuff. That's real stuff. That's real life. Yeah, that happens to people. For sure. Yeah, I remember my wife was like, I'm leaving, right? I want a divorce. Okay. I wonder if she thought, she never said anything, but I wonder if she thought that I was kind of fight her on it or something. Like, no. You know? Like, go ahead. Oh. Like, no, I'm too old to fight for my love, right? We're gonna beg? No. How about no? Okay, it's the door. I'm taking you to court. Okay. I'm gonna say no. You know, no, you're not. You're not taking me to court. Okay, they'll steal all the rest of the money that we've saved up, and we won't have it anymore. Okay, that's how you want to spend it. Go right ahead. I can't stop you. You know, people do stupid shit like that. That's what she did. Now she's sorry she did that, but you know. What are you going to do? You can't. I was listening to another guy. There's a couple of guys, and they were talking about how their ex-wife literally took everything. Well, yeah, they turned off. Interesting, because they turned off my phone. They emptied out my bank account. They left me with $20 in my wallet, and I was dying of diabetes. I had whatever gas was in my car. I literally had nothing. They just, when you get a divorce, if they go to a lawyer, they shut your life off. I'm like, okay. And then when I got everything in my name, I couldn't even get a cell phone. Liz gave me a cell phone for a little while. I couldn't get a cell phone because I didn't have anything in my own name. So they wouldn't even they're like, we don't know who you are. You're still attached to another name. No, you can't do that. We need to see something just in your name. I'm like, but I'm freshly divorced. I don't have anything just in my name. Well, then you have to go through the routine of figuring out how to get something that's just in your name that you can use, you know. It was so bizarre. Like, okay, well, that's what's next. Whatever. I don't know. That's the next part of my life, I guess. I was telling somebody the other day, like, I'm happily divorced. I think I was telling Rob. Like, I'm very happily divorced. All right. And we get along fine now. Like, it's better. Much better than being in a horrible marriage. Why would you want that? I've tried to work things out with certain people in my life. Sometimes you can't. You just kind of hurt each other or hurt the other person or just act like a dick or it just makes you mad or it makes you miserable. It's like, life is too short for that. You know. And retired doesn't mean, he says it's about reorganizing to explore your interests. Yeah, but some people don't have like interests. I mean, even while in my working years of people that I met, I noticed that they would be stressed out and I would say, oh, I'm going to go work on one of my hobbies, whatever. And I've had people actually say to me, they're like, hobby? What's a hobby? And I'm like, what do you mean, what's a hobby? And they're like, yeah, like there are some people that honestly, they don't really know what they're like. You mean, I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you what a hobby is. You know, what is a hobby? It's collecting stamps, bowling. I don't know. They got rid of the bowling alley over here. Yeah, nobody bowls anymore. I was good at it for a while. I was even a pin chaser. I don't know, golfing, but not everybody can do that. But
anything is a hobby, if you so choose. That's why I want to start this other channel, because I want it more hobby oriented for people that are hobbyists, that are interested in the things that I'm going to be talking about, right? Maybe you just retired and you're looking, maybe you always wanted to play a little bit more guitar or do a little bit of video or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of guys our age that have started YouTube channels and talk about it as a retirement hobby. That is getting big. That's a whole avenue that you can tap into. Absolutely. I've seen some of those videos. But, those videos, though, when you watch one, you've watched them all. That's the problem. Like, where do you go? If you make a video like that, you can maybe make one or two, but then where do you go from there, right? That's very narrow. I wouldn't even know what to do with something like that at that point, Brett says, been single since 2010. Dodged a greedy bullet there. That happens sometimes, Trooper says, 800 credit score helps. Yeah, right? Yeah, yes. Brett says, I used to bowl men's league years ago, 2 nights a week, sometimes 3. Yeah, that was a big thing for a while. Yup. I guess it's not a thing anymore, And you could do all kinds of things. Some people game. My retired lawyer friend, he's been retired for a long time. Now, well, he games. He used to game with us when I ran the gaming servers and all that. He still games with Miller, who is a younger fella that we help raise, right? He's looking to buy a house now. He actually comes from the Netherlands. He's a Dutch boy. Some of my other friends, they game from time to time. But then Brian got into, he bought a 62 T-Bird, and he's been fixing it up. And he had a Jeep, an old Jeep, like World War II Jeep, whatever. He's had it around forever. And I'm like, when are you going to work on that? He started working on it now, right? Now he started working on it. Because he got the house, he wanted to fix up the house. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to be doing now, was essentially be retired. And I told my ex-wife, my wife at the time, I'm like, at this age, before I'm like in my 60s, I want to be done. And what I want to do is help Christina with school. And then I want us to work on the house. As you could still work, but you're working more to fix the house that we've always wanted to fix. And then we'll sell it, right? And get a divorce or die or whatever. That's what people do. That's usually what happens. Because like my friend Phil, he used to tell me, like, his parents' age and his parents did the same thing. They fixed up the house. They got it to where they wanted it. And then they retired and they left. They sold it. Okay, whatever. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. You do what you want to do. But that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I almost was there. I'm still almost there, but not quite. I don't have the money for that. But close. But because she decided to take us on a circuitous route, now she realizes, but people, they are the way they are, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And, you can argue all you want. What did I say again last time and the time before? I said sometimes pain is the only way that people learn. When the pain hits that sweet spot, then they're like, oh, crap, yeah, I get it now. Yeah. You could say everything you could possibly say to the person, and it won't do you any good. But when that pain hits that exquisite sweet spot, then they wake up. Or they die in the process of it. Oh, no. Right. You're never going to say what Rob is one thing's right. He's like, it's a good idea to try to, even if you semi-retire, you want to do some of what you want to do that you would like to do before you're too old to do it, because nobody is on their deathbed saying, geez, I wish I spent a little more time in the office or at the job, underneath that truck, all right, or whatever. Geez, I wish I want to be able to work and do another truck for my boss again, or whatever it is, diesel mechanic, like for your boss or for the company. I wish I stayed another couple of years in the company slugging it out, right? Nobody says that. So, yeah, that's why I say hobby. Find something. Try a bunch of different things, And that's kind of the approach. That's like, well, my channel is part of it is, what's nice about fixing some of the small equipment is, especially when you find it at the curb, right? If you screw it up, I'm like, take it apart, fool around with it, try to see if you can fix it. And if you can't, put it back to the curb. Just put it back in front of your house and throw it out. You know, but if you wait and screw it up and don't maintain it, and then you're like this poor guy where you've got 5 feet of snow or 5 inches of snow and the wife's waiting, right? Is it done yet? I want to be able to go out shopping. And your snowblower is broke, then that's not a hobby anymore. And I don't know what YouTube video you think you're suddenly going to go to that's going to make it better in 5 minutes. I get a lot of that. I do get a lot of that. One guy said that I was working on a lawnmower doing some simple stuff, and he had no idea what I was saying. He's like, I guess you can't be a beginner to learn this. I'm like, you can't. If I have to pick something up and show you this is a flashlight and this is a hammer, I mean, that's probably not a bad YouTube channel kind of list of stuff to have, you know, for a real beginner, you know, mechanics or handyman, how to be a handyman. Like, I don't know, maybe that's a good avenue to pursue, is how to be a handyman. Let me introduce you to the tools. There are some videos that I've seen that do that. They lay out the tools. These are the tools we're going to be using in this video. Whenever I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. We're going to be using a 3/32 and an 11 millimeter and all that. No, just put the damn wrench on that fits. Sometimes I'll say everything is 10 millimeter or whatever. What's nice about this engine is almost everything is 10 millimeter. Anything that you're probably going to do is a 10 millimeter. And I know people go out to the store to buy a 10 millimeter wrench and they don't have all the other numbers. Like, I know that's a thing. Like, I absolutely know that is a thing for some people. Like, well, I didn't know there was going to be another wrench size on this. You told me everything was 10 millimeter. So what did you do? You bought one wrench and a screwdriver? Yeah, there are people that do. Well, you know what, Mike? The girls, right, they have a drawer where they keep some basic tools. You know, a Phillips, a screwdriver, a little hammer, a bigger hammer. There is a toolbox in the basement that I set my ex-wife up with, so they could pick out of that. But I don't think they've been in that box for years, you know. And like you'll hear them banging on the wall or something with a wrench, right? Where's the hammer that I gave you? I don't know, I can't find it, right? My neighbor's like that. He won't. I remember when this kid was really young, we would eat over there, and he'd put silverware out on the table. He was a good cook. He's a good cook. Nice kitchen. He redid it. But he'd put silverware on the table, and you pick up the knife, and it's all bent, right, on the end. And because he used it as a screwdriver. And I remember one day his son was tagging along, and I was working on the fence and helping him out with something else, and I came back to get some tools. And his son goes, well, where's your tools, Daddy? And I quipped, they're in the silverware drawer. And the kid didn't get it, but Frank did. He's like, that's right. They're in the silverware drawer. Like, I could never live like that. That's just not my thing. What is that? Offer up. Oh, deals for under $50. I don't care. You know, what time is it? What do we got here? Yeah, we're at, an hour and 45. We're pretty much on the end of the thing. Let me see what you guys are up to. And he goes, Brett says, yeah, it got expensive. Yeah, it is expensive. Sure. Brett says, my channel is more or less a hobby channel. Yeah. And like I was telling you, like I just did another video on like how it was that old. And Rob, I don't know if Rob RW saw it, but I quoted you on the last machine I did, which is that nice little Mac hedge trimmer, and I pointed to the box, the Hires, whatever it is, root beer box. I said, my friend Rob said that box is probably worth more than the machine. I said, yeah, it's probably true. Collecting old boxes, like antique, old, cool stuff. Here's another one that I do. We were doing for a little while. I have a whole bunch. Old lanterns, especially with the red glass, the ones from the old, railroad, kerosene, whatever, lanterns and stuff like that, and restoring them if you'd like, or fixing up, just making sure that they work, or I don't know. There's so many things which another nice thing about too is that if you're still married or you got a new lady, you talk about vacation. In our case, we can go out east, or you can go upstate, or you can go to Pennsylvania and you cruise all the back areas, when the weather's a little bit nicer and the shops are out and they have all this cool old antique kind of old junk.
and you can rifle through, pick up for relatively cheap if you find the right place. My friend used to do that. He moved up to New Hampshire, and he kind of still does that. He a nice piece of property with a big old barn, and they keep their whole house is like antiques like that. Their whole house. He and his wife Jeannie, they still do that. Like this, that's nice. In fact, that would make a good YouTube channel. Look what I just got, fellas. Let's fix it and restore it. You know, that's nice. A lot of fun. All kinds of things. Oh my God. And you just have to be handy enough, you know. And then you'll learn from there, right? RW says, he says, I've been saying enjoy your life since I was in my late teens. My father, before he passed, admitted I had it right. Yeah, you do need to enjoy. I do enjoy myself in what I do, though. You know, they say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Although sooner or later, everything is work, you know, to some degree. But yeah, I mean, I generally enjoy myself. And he says, new tool introduction. That I don't like to do too much of, you know. I do it, but not too much. I don't think some of those channels don't do very well. They do just a lot of open boxing and everything. And if you're not introducing it into your channel and then using it and showing it and it being used and incorporating it, like, you know, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this on my channel, fellas. Let's open it up and check it out. Because I think with Renegade, he does a lot of that new tool, and you never see him use it. He just keeps getting all these Chinese tools and checking them out, and he'll talk a bit about it. But I've never seen him do anything. That can be kind of boring after a while, you know. And then you wind up with so many tools, and you wind up just hawking for the manufacturer, and you're not paid properly for it, you know, just because you get a tool. I won't do that. I can't be bothered with these people. I mean, I get all these offers. I'm like, I don't know if they're hackers. Like, I don't want to have to police everything out. If it's a bigger company, then it's different. But even if they offer you something really expensive, how do I know they're not a hacker? I've already been through that. I had to hack the hacker to get my shit back. Like, I can't be doing that. You know, I'd rather buy a tool and then if because I like it, and I'm hoping it's going to be good, and then do a review on it and use it. And if I really like it, I can do a video and say, hey, fellas, I've been using this thing for a while. It seems to work pretty good. And then I can do another video a year or so later and go, hey, it still works. I've been using it all the time. You might want it. That I like doing, you know, and I'll get my money's worth out of it. Hey, it is Mitch. Mitch says, hi from Snowstorm. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to leave. Like Brett collects hand dryers and stuff, right? RW says, I saw a telephone display at an airport that included your old telephone. Yeah, that's another nice thing. All of the old phones and the lollipops. And here's another thing, too. How about old vintage stereo equipment? Right? And that might be something I may even add to this other channel that I want to cook up, right? Along with some new, you know, Chinese crappy equipment because I need it, but it's got to be cheap, and I want to fit it in to my little Porto home studio type thing, you know, on a budget, tight budget, right? Especially for people our age that maybe are coming into retirement or have retired, you might be on a fixed income and you want to play guitar or noodle around and start a YouTube channel. How does this stuff connect to here? Oh my God, that's too much money. Is there anything cheaper? I mean, you know, I'm not making any money, or I don't even know if I'll make any money. Is there anything cheaper? Yeah, I'd like to answer those questions. Even also for myself. This way you can noodle around with the shit, and if you fry it, who cares? Oh, look, smoke's coming out of it now. That's pretty cool. Is that on camera? Now I want to catch it smoking, right? Yeah, let's have some fun, you know? And if you can do it on a budget, especially if you're on a tighter budget, which, you know, who really isn't? And for the retired people, that you might be on not just a budget, but unless you want to start going back to work for something, right, to increase your sort of fun cash, your mad money, right, you're on a fixed income. And a lot of the nice stuff that's out there today that's cheap doesn't take up a lot of room. So let's say you're in an apartment or you're in a motor home, all right, and that you don't have a lot of room. But you can find a little spot somewhere. Right, I've watched YouTube channels where people, you know, they travel. You ever see some of the travel channels or whatever, or people that run it in a bus or a trailer or whatever it is? I was watching one One night, as an idiot, this guy, he's around our age. He was like doing the night over in a little trailer in a hurricane, right? And this guy, right? You see the camera at him, and because he had already had a channel, and he's like, "But this is live, like from the hurricane." He's like, because they're not very wide, and he's like holding on, and you're hearing all these noises. He's like, he was getting scared. I'm like, I was getting scared for him. I'm like, oh, and he'd peek outside. I'm like, bro, I don't think you should be outside. Why don't you go back in? Right? He's like holding on. I'm like, but he's got room for his YouTube stuff and whatever. I mean, you need your camera and a laptop and maybe a widescreen and a few other things. And lots of cords and chargers and batteries and whatever. I mean, you need stuff. You know, even if you're going to be in a trailer, right? So you want the smaller equipment, you know, and be able to charge up all your batteries. And you need some kind of a separate inverter so you're not going to blow up the one that you heat up your coffee in every morning, right? You know, that kind of stuff. I was watching this guy. This guy's pretty cool. Do I have him here? Let me get out on this. And you know what? Next time, remind me, Brett, because I want to talk about your lawnmower. Hold on. I found another cool channel, so I'll recommend it. Let me see if I can just find it real quick. I think he's a British guy. But he's talented, and I'll put a link in. But it's definitely off of the beaten path, even for me, but not too far off. So, just as an example of like what you can do and just some cool stuff. Let me see if I can find him again, because I just signed up for him. And now my channel, by the way, you know, bass guitarist, you know, Gary. Gary's been doing a lot more of the electronic stuff and things of that nature, but he also mixes it in with, like, you know, all the other stuff he does, tractors and generators and everything. Now, I want to get away from that because I know it doesn't really work. We've talked about that. But in the direction I want to go in is a little bit more Gary-esque, loosely defined, like if you were to say, but not on the bass guitar side, like more on, you know, like the guitarist side. Let's see if I can find him. I don't think I have him here. I don't think he's... See, a lot of people have commented on me, but I'm looking for like a feed from him. Oh, Doc Holliday did something cool the other day. Check out Doc. He's been here. He's stopped in. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think he did anything. All right, let me go to maybe my home page. And I might find, if I can't find it in the next 5 minutes, then I'll hook you guys up, because I wanted to see some more of his stuff. Like maybe tonight or something, if he had anything else. I was kind of just checking out his channel, so I was like binging a little bit. Yeah, I don't think I can remember his name. But there's just so many good channels. All right, it's not there. He's not on. I think he's British. I do watch a lot of those people whenever possible. All right, let me go to my home page and to the home over here and see if anything pops up there. Because I don't know him well enough, so I can't remember his name. Oh, Veronica showed me she got a feed from supposedly 2026 to coming out with a new Chevy Nova, and it looks like a Chevy Nova, and it's like hot rod like the Camaro, and like I was looking at him like, she's like, look, Nova. I'm like, ooh, kind of nice. I gotta say, I couldn't keep looking at it because I was salivating, and I'm mad because I sold my Nova. So, you know, that's one thing I'll never forgive anybody, including myself, on. Yeah, I don't see it. Unfortunately, I don't see it. I don't see him. So I'll have to find him. TJM's going. He's having a good night all. See you later, TJ. Your autofocus is high. I know, because the light is not enough. I need this. It works. You have to put light on. It's dark in here. It's really dark in here. Yep. Yeah. It's also having a problem, made in the USA. It's also having a problem to brighten it up a little bit. I turned the frame rate down, right? So it's gonna have some issues, you know. Normally I put the frame rate a lot higher. I'm like, oh, well, I don't feel like adding any more light tonight. I'm tired. I don't want to be in the bright light. And I don't even want this. I put up, paint, 3D paint. And I just bring up a white background, or I can just make the whole thing white. And that's my light. You know, because you have to put lights on. And I'm like, I don't want lights on. I'm tired now. The only light I want on right now is the light of the YouTube movie that or something I want to watch in a little while, right? That's all I want. What should I go make? Go make some turkey? There's not that much turkey left. There's turkey soup. Let me go see if I can make something with turkey. There's mashed potatoes. There's carrots. They made the bean casserole really, really good. I love the bean casserole. If it's made right, I love it. There's some fresh cranberry sauce there. And what else is there? Oh, and my daughter made stuffing with the sausages in it. And I think there's some nice dark meat in there as well. I can go pick up if Christina didn't eat all of it. So I want to go make myself another plate. Oh, it's so good. Everything came out really, really good. So I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. And if you haven't, go have a nice weekend, rest of the weekend. But enjoy yourself. And like Rob said, take a vacation. You know, I'm on like permanent vacation. Like my life is this weird vacation kind of thing, especially more recently. It's like a staycation. Oh God, it's horrible. Such is life. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping in Archer's Garage. And keep thinking about what we can do for TNA. Archer's TNA. It just has a nice ring to it. See you guys later. Now, wait, hold on. Before I leave, I'm going to pop out the chat. Hold on. I don't want to lose the chat because you guys had some good comments and some good ideas. So if I pop out the chat, then the chat stays up even though I close out the show. Later.